Good day. I trust all is great. How are we doing, everyone? Got my mix. With Brian today. Got a little mix going. I trust you can hear me. If you can hear me, throw it in the chat box. Let us know that we're good. Fantastic. All right, we got a meeting today. Obviously, it's 3:00 when we get started, and we have our attorney who's gonna come in or zoom in digitally, and who's gonna be with us here in a moment. And we're gonna get into talking new RPA. All right, and I actually forgot the music was going too, so let me turn that down. All right, so number one though, how are we doing? How's everybody out there? How's everybody doing? How are we holding up? We got the holiday season here coming up pretty soon. Very exciting. Got some exciting time here. I trust that we're gonna have an opportunity to hang out with some of our loved ones. So I trust everybody is fantastic. Looking forward to that. And then we're gonna have it going. So I would love to see some things that you're looking forward to in the chat box. Feel free to throw that in there. You know, what are you excited about? What are you looking forward to going into the new holidays? All right. So what are we grateful for? What's up? Some gratitude. We'd love to hear a little bit of that or see a little bit of that in the chat box. What are we most excited about being able to do over the next few days here? Maybe with some family. Are we traveling? Anyone traveling? We're like, you know what? Let's just get to the attorney.
Well, I just got done with traveling myself.
Oh, there you go. What's going on, Preetu? How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Just finished traveling for Tulum, Mexico for Thanksgiving, and then Cabo San Lucas for to celebrate my mother's 60th birthday.
Love that. So did you say that you're going to Mexico?
No, I just finished all those both trips.
Oh, nice, man. Nice.
So it was like now just tuckered out from all the plane rides and COVID testings.
Yeah. yeah. I hear that. Absolutely. So hey, wishing you and your family a great holiday season.
Thank you. Same to all of you.
What's up, Amy? Seeing Amy there in the chat box. Very own MCA.
Looks like we've got a couple people who are happy they have family coming over.
Yeah.
Laura O'Brien and Joe Galvin from Homebridge. Good to see you, Joe.
Hey, Joe. While we're at it, man, let's get you on. What's up going on in the lending world right now? Feel free to jump in on this. So what's happening out there in the numbers, rates? I mean, give us an update. What are you looking forward to going into 2022?
Well, it's exciting news, definitely, especially with the loan limit increase that happened. It's going to open the market a lot more buyers. I know we want more buyers. We also definitely want more inventory, but this kind of opens up always the door for more buyers to come into play and take advantage of the loan limits. Rates are still staying low for the most part. There might be we'll have a more better update next week, but maybe coming around March, the government's going to stop kind of tapering and stop investing money in the mortgage market. So we're going to see what that does to rates. The forecast is maybe an 1/8 higher to a quarter higher, so not much impact, but the news makes it sound like it's going to jump up 3 times the current rate, and then that's just not the current translation that's being received or still what's being said. So still good news on rates going into 2022, and with those higher loan limits, you're going to be meeting family and friends this weekend. So maybe overcoming an objection is going to be if they're not having money for down payment. There's down payment assistance programs are going to follow those increases as well for loan amount increases. So those come into play too. Help overcome that objection if they don't think they have money saved or they need to put 20% down, which they don't, and just kind of open that conversation and see if we can get more buyers and get 2022 started off right.
I love that. Thank you. And by the way, I mean, what do you expect? And you may have alluded to this a little bit earlier. What are you expecting with how inflation may end up impacting rates? I mean, what are we expecting around that?
That's why the Fed's going to pull back, because I think that will help push the rise in inflation. So they're trying to find this fine balance. They're trying to find the ebb and flow to what they're doing as well. So they think by raising the rates or threatening to, that's going to curb inflation a little bit. So they unfortunately are going hand in hand together, and they're kind of making those threats about next year, kind of seeing when inflation is going to happen. So not as much the impact as the news is saying, but maybe an eighth or a quarter higher in rate coming into to next summer.
I hear that. I hear that. Thank you for the update, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the update. And yeah, obviously keep us updated. Any questions for Joe? Feel free to throw it in the chat box or unmute yourself while we got Bank of Joe on the line. Let's see what he's got for us.
Any questions, definitely.
All right. So obviously you'll be around. So if anyone has any questions, feel free. So and obviously throw your information in the chat box. Let people know how they can get a hold of you.
Perfect.
All right. So thank you for that, Joe. Thanks for the quick update. And just a quick reminder about our company. Obviously, we want to wish you a great holiday season going into the 2022. So get your rest up. It's going to be another active year in real estate. So we're expecting that. So I'm looking forward to that. Quick reminder about our win-win or no deal conversations right now. And our obviously our beliefs here at KW, and yet win-win or no deal, right? Make sure that with the other people that we're have an opportunity to work with, agents, cooperating agents, other side of the deal. Let's take care of one another, right? Because we make up the industry together, and we want to see, although negotiations can be tough, just remember it's a small world out there, and so being aware of that and making sure that we respect one another, because what goes around comes around. So just a quick reminder on that. And so win-win or no deal. That's the belief of the day, if you will. And a quick reminder of our company. KW is a technology company that provides the real estate platform that our agents, buyers, and sellers prefer. Quick reminder, KW Command and KW Mobile. If you haven't downloaded your mobile version of Command yet, download that and start getting used to working out of that, because it's a great tool for those of you who are on the go. We're gonna have a workshop on this coming up, so we're gonna get on this in January. So look out for that, and we'll have some reminders about that in our dates coming up here for you. So look out for that. We want to wish our December babies a happy birthday, right? And so Avis, Olivia, Tom, Leah, Sharon, Nico, Kimberly, David, Mario, James, Evelyn, Andy, Frank, Kit, our very own Mary Jo, Thomas, David, Hector. I believe Hector's birthday is today, huh? Or maybe it was yesterday. Terry, Cynthia, Preetu. There you go, Preetu. Carmi, Nancy, and Laura. Happy birthday to all of you. Anyone's birthday today? And also we want to celebrate our work anniversaries as well. Sharon's been with us for quite a bit. Very cool. Yeah, everybody there, congratulations on your work anniversaries. Another great year with KW. All right, and then so we also have our what's happening at the Market Center here. So some updates, KW Tech, our newest tech updates. So we're gonna have something going on the 30th at 3 o'clock, and there's links on that are going to be in the Facebook. So Ryan, do you want to
links for
this?
that are in the Facebook page. It'll be with Ruben Bravo, who is our tech expert. So if you need any information, reach out to me, frontdesk559@gmail.com. I will email you his link personally, as well as his schedule for the rest of events in December.
Sweet. Awesome. And then we've got Ignite. And then we have, again, Ruben Bravo. We're going to be talking, with Ruben Bravo on the 10th. No, I'm sorry, the 12th, which is our next stakeholder meeting. And we're going to be talking about the new Command app, as well as we're going to have some professionals talk about the SB9 and SB10 ruling that's going to come into effect January, talking about zoning and the opportunities to build additional dwelling units on properties today. So I'm looking forward to that one. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be Wednesday the 12th, 3 p.m. Obviously. So looking forward to that. Same link, same place. Obviously, we have our picture day. How are we doing on signups on that? Any still availability for those who want to get new headshots, new year, new look?
Yeah, there's still plenty of availabilities left. I believe we only have one slot taken right now. There are
Okay.
8 slots from the day.
Nice.
Each session is about 45 minutes. I think it's 9 o'clock, 9:45, 10:30, 11:15, and then at 12 he takes a break for lunch. We start back again at 1:15, 2 o'clock, 2:45, and 3:30. That'll be on Monday, January 17th, all throughout the day. If you need any more information, again, hit me up hit me up on Facebook or email me frontdesk559@gmail.com. I'll be able to give you all of that information about pricing. I believe they run about $80, and that comes with unlimited cloud storage, editing happening right in front of you, all of that good stuff.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you for that, Ryan. Thanks for that update. Yeah, let's keep going, shall we? Can you talk a little bit about the? I know we have something going vertical. Jay Papazan, is that a live stream?
That is a live stream that will be through the region. From the information I was given, it's basically about how to start building your business up in the new year.
Sweet.
Jay Papazan is one of the higher ups in KW, and he will be talking all about keeping yourself motivated while also putting the building blocks into the foundation of your business to keep it constantly growing throughout 2022.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Ryan. Perfect. All right. So now what else we've got going here? So congratulations to everybody who got paid. Look at all these folks. And obviously we want to see more people getting paid. So congratulations. And way to go. It looks like we're having another good strong finish to the year. So December's been looking good for a lot of agents. So way to keep going. The motivated are still out there right now, obviously. We're seeing that an uptick in demand towards the end of the year, and it's very cool to see that and see that come into fruition. So that's exciting. Let's take advantage of this opportunity. So a lot of great people who are doing a lot of great things there. So great job, everybody. We also have. Let's look at how we're doing here so far. Our top 10 producers for the month of November. Look at all these great people here: Jenny, Mike. Thomas, Charles, and Hector. Look at that. Jenny, come on, man. 3 million in that month. Not a bad month, huh? 3 million for that month. Great job.
She had like 4 separate listings
Nice.
in like 3 days.
Love that. Very cool. And then, so congratulations. We had for November, Jim, Sandy, Amir. Does Amir really look like this? Question mark.
Yep, that's his headshot.
Amir, man of mystery. Jason, Cindy, great job on a great volume in November. So our top 10 there, great job. Let's look at units. So great job to Kenise, Charles, Mike, Thomas, and Tina, going strong in the month of November. And then top teams, Movement, Fusion, Purpose, Life, Team Crestwood, and Real Estate Service Pros for top teams in the month of November. And then for volume, and then you look at units there. So great job. Movement, Fusion, Purpose Life, Team Crestwood, and the Real Estate Service Pros. Good job. All right. And then we have for our top 10 producers year to date. Here we go. So we got Jason right now in the lead for number 1 in volume. Hector, Thomas, Charles, and Howard. So great job. Jason, Hector, Thomas, Charles, Howard, top 10. And then we've got Andrea, Kenise, Lillian, Mike, and Brianna. Great job. Top 10 year to date. We had units, Charles, Jason, Thomas, Hector, and Andrea. Great job. Year to date in units. And then we have our top 10 in units still. So we got Howard, Kenise, Mike, Brianna, and Sandy. Great job, great job, great job. All right, and then top 5 teams, year-to-date volume, Movement, Fusion, Purpose, Life, Team Crestwood, and Real Estate Service Professionals team. Great work. Year-to-date unit counts. Ooh, it's pretty close. Fusion and Purpose Life. Pretty close. And then great job in Movement. We've got Letitia, Laura, and Julia, our top year-to-date closed volume on the Movement team. And then year-to-date units, Letitia, Laura, and Isabel. Very cool, very cool. Great job. All right, so we're gonna get into the purchase agreement. I don't see our speaker in yet. And yet I want to open up. Anyone have any, oh, sorry about that. Anyone have any haves and wants? Any haves and wants, anyone? Anyone want to share a little bit? Haves and wants? What do you got? What are you looking for? And you got any buyers who are looking for something particular? Anyone have any sellers? Haves and wants.
I got one.
Hey, what's up, James?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Man.
Right. Yeah, we're Sandy and I have a buyer we're working with together. We're in escrow. We're waiting for the sellers to find a replacement property. So if anyone has anything in they're looking in Chino and Ontario, and I believe their budget is like $650. So if anyone has anything in those areas, let me know.
Let's keep it in the family. Let's do it.
Yeah, the other agent's from KW. He's KW Cavina. So we're
Nice.
trying to move this thing along.
All right, I like it. What else? What else we got? Any haves and wants? Anyone else?
Hi, Brian, I want to mention something if I can.
Yeah.
It's exciting news, just came out last week. Homebridge is one of 3 lenders that's going to assist with CalHAPA, and CalHAPA through the state is offering up to a $25,000 grant towards anyone that wants to either build an ADU on their property they already own, or they're looking to purchase a piece of property with intentions to build an ADU, like a large piece of land. Maybe that's your investor or your primary residence, your buyer wanting that, finding that specific kind of property. So it's a great option to either entertain your current buyers, reach out to buyers, saying that the state of California is offering up to a $25,000 grant towards some of their costs towards building an ADU, or reaching out to your past clients you've closed that have large pieces of land and you know the intention of building one. Maybe you can reach out to them again, and just let them be you can keep being their realtor for life and your point of contact, and saying, hey, there's a grant out there. I know you had plans to build an ADU possibly on your property. So possibly that's an opportunity for business, or just to reach out to your clients, past or future.
Very cool. Can you so can you say it again? So like
Sure.
for what they would how they would, so if they have an existing property that they would like, so they can get financing or a grant?
Correct. They would get like a
building.
renovation loan. Say they own the property already, and they had intentions of wanting to build an ADU on their property that they live at.
Yeah.
Either for their in-laws or for a rental piece of property for where they presently live. They get a renovation loan to help construct the ADU, and the state of California will reimburse up to $25,000 towards some of those costs, such as the permit costs, the design costs, any of the soft costs, any surveys, any reports. The CalHAPA is going to reimburse that borrower up to $25,000 towards that purpose of building an ADU on their own property.
Wow. So you say reimburse?
Reimburse, yes, up to 25 for any of the soft costs, yes. And the remaining, all the material costs, labor costs that goes into your loan, the new renovation loan,
Yeah.
but they get reimbursed up to 25,000 for those other soft costs as far as permits, surveys, architectural
Wow.
designs, and so it's a great
So
feature to kind of reach out to past or future clients.
Definitely. So for those who are interested in doing that, and then you said that there's a purchase aspect to it too, huh?
Right. If you have maybe like even if you're calling on expired listings, maybe
Yeah.
there's something that they haven't sold because the seller doesn't have money to repair it. You can talk to the seller and say, hey, there's a program out there that we can either get a renovation buyer into this program,
Mhm.
or if it's a large piece of land, you can market it as enough to renovate the house and also build an ADU on it. If you're gonna live on it.
Mhm.
That's on that aspect of calling expired. But yeah, if you have clients now that want to look at that kind of property, they want a large piece of land that they're going to live on and want an ADU also on the property, this can be applied specifically for them as well.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up. You know, I've really been thinking a lot about this, and I think in that as folks are doing the whole migrating out of LA a little bit more, and coming out towards the Inland Empire. I saw something that Inland Empire is one of the fastest growing areas in the country,
Right.
and as a result, I mean, how great could it be for? I mean, no, no. What I'm saying is, I think that there's going to be a premium on larger properties, larger lot properties. So I think there's going to be an acceleration of the cost, the value of properties that are large enough to have ADUs and have additional units. So that might be something to look at is whether you're farming or you're marketing, just target marketing, those larger lot properties.
Exactly.
And see what you can do to create some listing opportunities with this push here that we're having.
Exactly.
I truly believe that we're gonna see that the acceleration of price point on properties. There's gonna be a premium because this is just a longer term growth opportunity. So, and that's why the SB9 and the SB10 conversation next month is going to be an important one. It'll just help us connect the dots on how we can get the news, because a lot of homeowners haven't heard about it. So
No.
it's a big opportunity, I believe.
And we're only one of 3 lenders in the state that are approved to do it. So it's definitely a good
Wow.
opportunity to
Nice.
reach out and knock on doors and get the
Yeah,
information out.
if you have any marketing material on that, I mean, please get that out to us, or so we can post it and get it out to everyone, because I think that's an awesome program. That
Definitely.
sounds really good.
Perfect.
Almost too good to be true. What's the catch, Joe? What's the catch,
I'll-
man?
Hey, Joe,
when I
what's-
find out, I'll let you know. I'm looking forward to.
Joe, just
Jaime,
excuse
what's
me. Yeah, I was wondering. Hi, everyone. Joe, how much is?
Hi.
I mean, not how much. What is the turnaround time on a reimbursement like that? Is it lengthy or,
It gets applied towards that once the escrow closes, then
Yeah.
the CalHFA agency will reimburse the lender and remove it from their balance of the mortgage. So it's kind of a behind the scenes thing as far as
Okay.
the rebate will be applied towards a principal reduction on the loan, but it reimburses the upfront costs that the borrower is doing as far as getting the design, getting the permits out there, getting anything approved through the city. So it's a kind of they go hand in hand together as far as it gets applied to the principal of the mortgage as the reimbursement.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Nice, great question. Any other
Okay.
questions? Any questions for Joe? We're gonna give our speaker a moment to jump on. He'll be jumping on here fairly soon. And by the way, there's a couple different segments that we're going to be having launched here pretty soon, and that we want to just kind of give some heads up about. Look out for it. We're going to be putting some notice out there about several meetings that we're working to coordinate with folks, and so for us at the office, we're working to have more segments, right? More of a groups that we can each jump into and be a part of that have interest, that have our interest, right? And so it's kind of funky look here. So what we're doing is we're working to, like, for instance, we've got a luxury department that we're starting. We've got commercial that's up starting and it's going. We've got wealth building for anyone who's interested in building out wealth, which is conversations about investments and whatnot, right? And we're gonna we have another one on just in general learning about leverage and business strategy, systems, et cetera. And so with that, I recommend look out for these things, because we have folks who've already said, hey, I'm gonna step up. I'm leading this group. And now it's just really about us jumping into those groups and having conversations, whether it be in person or over Zoom. That's something that we're excited about bringing to the Market Center and bringing to the office overall. So just look out for that. It's going to be something that we're going to really be pushing quite a bit. And so I'm looking forward to what that means for all of us. So again, if we're interested in commercial, we can jump on that. Gary, I know Gary, you're on right now. Do you want to share anything about what you guys are working on the commercial front? I know you guys are more so in the lead for that. I'm
Actually,
putting
we're still
putting you on
working.
this, putting you on the spot.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you good.
Yeah, good. No, we're still working. I just got off the phone with Nick a little bit ago, and we're trying to get one deal closed, sign 2 other leases this week. And I'm actually committed, this was kind of crazy, to do a listing presentation on Friday for a day spa actually in Chino Hills. So guys own it for 10 years looking to sell. So we got a lot going on. Next year is going to be exciting. The biggest challenge is going to be, particularly in the industrial side, is going to be inventory. That's what slowed us down this year. We could not find enough large industrial buildings, and that's a shortage that is chronic throughout the industry right now, and is part of what backs things up all the way to the port on this logistics platform that everybody talks about. So anyway, lots going on. We Nick and I are going to roll out pretty strong in January, lots of activity, and try to basically put Chino Hills vision on the map from a commercial standpoint. So looking forward to it.
Thank you for that. And by the way, so I know we've just tasked, right, your group with having meetings, open meetings with anyone is interested in commercial. How can anyone maybe get a hold of you if they're want to be a part of that commercial group department, if you will?
I don't know if it'll happen next week, but probably that first week of January, we'll do kind of a blast to staff with an intro and open the game up a little bit, and set up a schedule for meetings that will be open. We'll see how things go after the first of the year, whether we're on a Zoom platform, a hybrid, or we try to pull people together. I think there's still a few question marks around that with everything that's going on, but either way, we're going to work it out.
Okay, awesome. So feel free to throw your email in the chat, so
Sure.
that way anyone
Yeah,
can,
that's a good one.
if
That's a
they're
good idea.
interested,
I'll do that.
they can reach out. And then I know that we have another group. So we have another group. I don't know if anyone's here to represent that. And yet I know we have, again, commercial, we got luxury. Look out for some luxury updates. Consider some updates around that, on if you're looking at taking your luxury business, start to increase your price point and focus on growing your price point. We're going to be pushing luxury as well. And so trainings, consider that. Think about the concept of maybe not being familiar with all the type of different luxury finishes that you may have or be aware of. That's something that we're really going to be talking and discussing about, educating ourselves to work with that type of clientele and client base. And so being able to call out, hey, here's this type of finish and this type of granite or this type of quartz or whatever the case is, being able to identify that. So that's going to be the goal of our luxury division. So look out for that. And then in regards to wealth building, again, we're going to have some meetings around that too. So if you're interested in any of these segments, please put it into the chat box, and we could talk more about that. So yeah, throw it in the chat box, and we'll keep a record of that, so that way we can keep you on those email lists as well. All right. And let me see here. Hey, Broker Vic, how you doing, man? I know you're on the line here. While we're waiting for our guest speaker to jump on, anything that you want to share? Any top thoughts, top ideas, things that are hot on the press right now in regards to the industry? I don't know if you can hear me, Broker Vic. I think you might be muted if you're saying anything. Let me see here. Oh, so I think he may have stepped away. Put him on the spot. We'll circle back to him. Let me see here. Amy, any updates on your front on what any folks can expect? Any updates for us that you may want to share?
Hi there.
You
Can you
there?
hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Any updates? Well, I've been out of the office a little under the weather, so I'm gonna get commission checks cut today. So just if anyone's waiting, I'm gonna get that handled for you today.
Okay. Thank
So
you for
hopefully
that.
by tomorrow. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, hey, feel better, right?
Thank
Take care
you.
of yourself and
Thank you.
wishing you speedy recovery.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, it looks like we have our guest speaker on here. She's getting her audio connected. Give her a second. Hey there, Jackie. It looks like you're muted.
Okay.
Hey,
Hi.
there you go. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am well. I'm well. Hey, thanks for joining us today. We got some pretty heavy updates that you've got for our agents, huh?
Right. And what's your name?
Brian Arahan.
Oh, okay. Hi, Brian. I don't know anybody by face. I just know who I've been
Yeah. By
conversing
email.
with. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm kind of new to your company. I have 3 other Keller Williams offices that I'm counsel for, and Cress asked me to give the presentation today, and they said it would be by Zoom. So I'm excited.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and you know, you've got the floor. So, you know, whenever you, and I believe we have some slides for you of yours here about the new RPA, and you know, if you want to personally be able to share. So I just made you a co-host there. So if you wanted to
Okay.
share any slides,
They told me that it's easier for me to share from my screen, so I'll try that.
yeah,
But I thought that I would start by just saying hello to all the participants. Can everybody see me?
we see you, we hear you, great. We're good.
All right. Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jackie Oliver. I am a real estate broker and attorney. I've been a real estate broker and agent for almost 40 years. I hate to say that anymore, but I used to own a RE/MAX office up in the Los Angeles area in Tarzana. I sold it and moved down to San Diego to go to law school. And then after law school, I started practicing real estate law. And I've been an attorney in real estate law for 22 years. So, so part of that time,
God
you know,
bless you.
I've still been a broker, and I'm a member of SDAR in North County, et cetera. So I come at this with a lot of real estate background, and I do transactional type of law and help people to get out of binds. So I do have some materials. Everybody should have an outline that says new RPA, and then it says key changes in the December 2021 RPA. You need to have that close at hand, because those are going to be your notes, and that's going to be kind of a guideline. Another thing that you have is the new RPA roadmap. And basically what it does is it gives you the page number and what paragraphs are on that page. And that's just kind of a cheat sheet for you to use later.
We're gonna get that
not.
loaded into the chat here in a moment. So you
Okay.
mentioned those highlights, so we will
Right.
work to get that out.
And then another form that I had asked to share with you was the December 2021 forms release quick summary. And basically that shows you all the new forms, all the revised forms, and how they were revised. And I think that's a really good handout for you to keep close, because there might be forms on there that you want to use in a particular transaction. One thing that's not on your outline that I want everybody to take note of is that CAR.org has a spotlight series that is Neil Kalin. He's an associate general counsel for CAR, and he takes the contract and gives you webinars on it, like a couple pages at a time. And so if you go to CAR.org and you search for Spotlight Series. Once you get to Spotlight Series, click on Webinar. And then once you get to the webinars, they have the archive where you can just go through and watch them at your leisure. I will warn you, they're about an hour each. So you might just want to sit down and you may just want to sit down and watch maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes. I just got a visitation from my dog. She doesn't like me having the door shut. It's okay, Ruby, you can lay down. All right. So anyway, that's what's not on the outline that I wanted you to point out to you. One thing I will tell you is that the new contracts are loading up in zip forms, and so you do have access to them. And I've already seen even today a transaction where there was an issue. You're going to love this. They are in a contract for the 10-page contract, but they have a COP, and the COP involved bringing another buyer in, and now the new buyer for the contingent buyer is using the 16-page. So you've got a transaction that has a buyer and seller using the 10-page contract that opened escrow in December, and now they are dealing with a buyer sale, contingent sale, and that they switch buyers, and the new buyer is on a 16-page. So I'm just wanted to point that out, that you might end up in a situation like that. So without further ado, if everybody has their outline of the new RPA, I'm going to share
There's also this one too.
the screen. Did you have any questions before I share the screen? Because I'm going to go away and you're going to see my PowerPoint.
No, I think we're good to go.
Okay, the other thing I wanted to say about the PowerPoint is that it mirrors the outline, except when we come up to the forms update and the forms of interest, then you'll want to take notes on that, okay? Because that's not on your outline. So I'm just giving you a heads up, when we're about halfway through the slides, it's going to say forms update. And so you're going to want to take notes on some particular forms that we use often. The reason I did that is because if you look at all the forms that are impacted by this RPA, it's over 90 forms, but you don't use all those forms. We need to talk about forms that you actually use. And so that's why I picked out a few of the forms that you use a lot so that we can go over those. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and try to share the content.
Yeah, and everybody, while she's doing that, we did upload the roadmap, so you have that in the chat box. So we're good to go there. There we go.
Do you see my
The PowerPoint?
the PowerPoint?
Oh, a question. Is it possible for us to get access to the PowerPoint once you're done?
Sure,
Oh, yeah.
I can. I've already emailed it to your company, so it's
Oh,
available.
perfect. Okay. Oh, yeah, we'll get that out there. Thank you for that.
Okay. So that's me, and we're going to start. The first thing I want you to do is to not. Hold on a second. It says remove spotlight. I don't know if that helps or what. Okay. The first thing I want you to keep in mind is don't panic. Consider this to be taking your 10-page contract actually down to 3 pages, because even though it's 16 pages instead of 10 pages and appears to be 60% increase, the summary or grid, the first 3 pages, cross references to the pages. And so it really reduces the 10 pages down to 3, because the grid is the contract. The grid has all the terms on it. So it's essentially the same, because it's really the actions of the buyer and seller that are most important. It's just going to be very you know, new to everyone. It's going to be new for people to be using this contract. And remember, the people that you're doing business with, a lot of them will not know how to use the contract because they haven't been educated. So there is going to be a learning curve there because not everybody's educated on it. But I would like to point out on the roadmap that on page, and I think you guys have that, right? The new roadmap, pages 1 to 3, you start off, and before I forget, everybody should have a copy of your contract printed out so you can take notes on it. I'm going to tell you places to highlight. So if you're looking at the most recent version that I sent over to your staff, there you'll notice that paragraphs 1 and 2 are the offer and agency, and it's on that roadmap. So you've got the parties identified, the property identified, the agents identified, confirming the agency. That should look really familiar. One thing you want to highlight, right under paragraph 1 on the offer, it says postal mailing address may be different from city jurisdiction. Buyer is advised to investigate. You see that line right under 1B? You might want to highlight that. That is something that's new. And also 1C is new. The terms of the purchase are specified below and on the following pages. And then, so that is something new, 1C. Then on 2A, you may want to highlight the form AD because that's going to be a little bit different because they've modified AD form in consideration of this new contract. Then you're familiar with 2B because you're confirming the agency. The next thing you want to highlight is 2C because it's pointing out that there's an ABA form, but that is not a new form. The additional broker acknowledgement, it's just that they didn't have it in that position before. So that's why I wanted to highlight that. The next part is the grid. So you're going to see a reference to all throughout this contract to paragraph 3. Anytime you see paragraph 3, like paragraph 3C or paragraph 3F or paragraph 3K, just think of the grid. 3 is for the grid. Okay, so that's what you're going to see there. The grid has the contract terms. The basic terms in the grid are going to be the price, the escrow, the parties, and the agent. Now, I have pointed out a couple paragraphs in the body of the RPA so that you will know where to find them. Remember, I said that we're looking at the buyer and the seller's actions. The buyer investigates and removes contingencies. They investigate under paragraphs 8 and 12 and remove contingencies under those paragraphs. So those are the references. Now, paragraphs 5 and 6 have to do with how the property is going to be paid for. And it's also on your, what I put on the notes on the roadmap, it's the deposit and the loan type. So how are you going to send the deposit? And the one important thing for you to notice in the grid on 3D1, you're going to go down to D on the grid, initial deposit amount. They've added in those blocks the percentage of purchase price. And it's my understanding that when you put percentage in there, that it will modify other parts of the contract. So you'll have to keep an eye on that. But under additional terms, I want you to highlight or circle that the within 3 business days, because in the definitions, there's going to be calendar days and business days. And when they wire the money in, the default is to wire the money. And it's within 3 business days or later if the parties agree to it. Did everybody see that? So you're going to want to circle business and you're going to want to underline wire transfer because that is the new default. For many years, people were writing checks, and I think you're seeing less of that, aren't you? I don't know if anybody, I don't think anybody can respond, but
Yeah,
let me
no,
look
yeah,
on the
we're
chat.
for
It looks
sure
like
we're
we're
doing.
getting a lot of chat. So let me look and see if there's any questions. There's James Olvera says he doesn't see the roadmap. Brian, can you send him the RPA roadmap PDF?
Yeah,
And then Sandra put up the link to the Spotlight webinars. That's great. If you look in the chat, you're going to see the Spotlight. Oh, it looks like Brian already sent over a form. I think that's all in the chat. So we're going to go back to this grid terms, and we're looking at paragraph 5 and 6 for the loans, and the paragraph 6 for the verifications. So why don't we go ahead and go over to paragraph 5. That will be on page 4. So turn in your contract to page 4
and
find paragraph 5, page 4 on the RPA.
And we'll get an email. We'll get an email packet out to everyone with the attachments that Jackie was talking about. So we'll get that.
Okay. Well, also, if people heard in the chat, somebody posted the link for the Spotlight series, so you'll want to write that down. In any case, paragraph 5 on page 4 of 16, if you're looking at your contract, these are terms affecting the purchase price, and A is the deposit, of course, but something that they added here is 5C. So under 5C, letters 3 and 4, you're going to want to highlight that, and you'll see when you look at the Spotlight series, those are the paragraphs that were highlighted by the CAR attorney. And they're highlighted because they're a little bit different. For example, C3 shows the buyer's loan status, and it says that the buyer shall deliver an updated contact information within 1 day of seller's request if the contact for the lender changes or it's different. Okay, that's in 5C3. And in 5C4, that speaks to the FHA and VA contracts. It says on the bottom line of 5C4, the seller has no obligation to pay or satisfy any or all of the lender requirements unless agreed in writing. So in other words, if it tells you that, look, if the seller doesn't cooperate, the buyer might not be able to get this loan. So it says that the seller has no obligation to pay or satisfy lender requirements. What are they talking about? They're talking about requirements to do changes, like repairs. That's one that you get with the VA and FHA. And I imagine people in your office probably have VA and FHA loans, especially since they have increased the limits. So, but one thing I want you to look there. Remember I said that when you see paragraph 3 reference, it means to go to the grid. So look at 5C about loans. And if you look at the very first paragraph there, 5C1, see how it says 3E1? It's telling you to go back to the grid. And it's referencing back to the grid. And it says this is going to be conventional financing unless they've checked the boxes on the grid saying that it's going to be FHA or VA financing. And then also they point out seller financing, and they tell you to use the SFA, which is a seller financing addendum. So you may want to just get familiar with that, because you're going to be going back. You're going to be going back and forth between the grid and the body. Let's look at. I want you to look at paragraph 4 on page 4 at the top of your page for RPA, and look at where it says property addenda advisory. I didn't write it on the outline, but I'm going to tell you to make some sort of note somewhere on your outline to watch out for pre-checked boxes because some of these are pre-checked. So go down to 4C. See where it says buyer and seller advisories? There's 4 that are pre-checked. You see that? And you want to make sure that if they are checked on there, that if you don't want them checked for whatever reason, that you uncheck them because they're automatically checked. Does everybody see that? So watch out for boxes that are already checked. So another one I want to go through is turn the page to page 5. And that is, I want you to take a look at paragraph 8. And on paragraph 8, it leads you back to 3L. You might want to write 3L in the margin next to paragraph 8, where it has contingencies and removal of contingencies. That first 2 subsections, 8A 1 and 2, that's highlighted because there's new language there. There's bold-faced language that says if there is no appraisal contingency or appraisal contingency has been waived, then failure of the property to appraise does not entitle the buyer to exercise a cancellation right pursuant to the loan contingency. And it leads you back to 3L. So you'll want to make sure that you note that. And that's on my PowerPoint there under letter C, where it says buyer investigates and removes contingencies. That's under paragraph 8 of removal of contingencies. That if you didn't get a contingency for appraisal, they can't back out for that reason. So,
some buyers. So I know that was in some cases a strategy that some folks would use. Like, okay, well, if it doesn't appraise, then technically we can't get the loan. So then, yeah, we can remove our appraisal contingency because going in, knowing that the loan can't go through with the finance.
Right. So they're correct.
So this is kind of sealing that loophole there, huh?
Right. And so what you're doing is it's alerting you if you can't get the loan that you're going to have to not remove the loan contingency. But you can't say, for example, oh, this property, I bought it for $400,000 and it only appraised for $350,000, so I don't want it. So, but you can't get out on a contingency that you haven't put in the contract. But I'm glad you raised that issue because some people don't have an appraisal contingency because they want to sweeten the deal. They want to say, look, we're in a hot market right now, and we're gonna give you this really good price, and if it doesn't appraise, we'll come in and make up the difference. You see what I'm saying? So you're going to have to really talk to your lenders and find out how do you want to do this. But I know that some buyers are doing that because we're in a hot market. And well, at least in some areas, I know the property in North County here in San Diego that's having this issue with the buyer trying to the seller's trying to kick the buyer out because they got a higher offer, but they don't have any basis for it. So, but if you had an appraisal contingency, then you could get out on the appraisal. But if you waive that appraisal, you can't use it. If, in other words, you don't have an appraisal contingency, you can't use that as an excuse to get out of the contract. So if in doubt and you get into a situation that you're not really sure, talk to your broker, talk to your manager. And if they need counsel, then they can go ahead and call, whoever you're using for counsel, and they can walk you through it. But those are some issues that are important. In paragraph 8A, again, 1 and 2 are both new and highlighted, and also B1 and B2, if you watch the Spotlight series, you'll see that they have highlighted those paragraphs as well. And again, those are new, that's new language, and it all leads you back to 3L of the grid. If you turn the page to the contract now to hold on a second. Page 10. Go to page 10 and you'll see that paragraph 14 are the time periods. And you should be familiar with that. It's going to be in on a different page now because of the contract being so long. But in the time periods, it says here that the default is that the seller provides the disclosures within 7 days. And there are several statutory disclosures there. And it's not only the TDS and the NHD and the ESD, so the transfer disclosure statement, the natural hazards disclosure, and the exempt seller, but it's also going to be these new fire hardening fire hardening forms that have come out. They are now statutory for homes in high fire danger. How do you know it's a high fire danger? Look at the NHD. It'll be in the natural hazards disclosure. So that's on page 10 of 16. And the new language, they'll send you, again, they'll send you back to 3L. The new language is in 14B3. And there's also, they noted lead-based paint as well as another statutory form. Okay, and you'll notice also in 14C2, numbers 2 and 3 have to do with seller contingencies and seller's right to cancel. But before they can do that, they have to send the buyer a notice to perform. So the language that you should pay attention to on page 10 at paragraph 14 is the 14C2 seller right to cancel. And it's that first sentence: after first delivering the buyer a notice to perform, may cancel if by the time specified the buyer does not take the following actions. And then they gives you all the actions that they're supposed to do in the paragraphs, and it references back to the paragraph 3, 3D1, 3D2, that's in the grid. Anytime you see a 3, you know to go to the grid if you're in the body of the contract. And then the last one there, C3, it says seller contingencies. The seller may cancel by good faith exercise any seller contingency so long as that contingency has not already been removed. So they can't say that later on that, oh, you have to, that they can cancel if that hasn't been removed yet. And of course, you got to pay attention to the time periods. I'm looking at, let me see if there's anything on your outline. Oh, on your outline, if you, there's something that wasn't on the slide. On your outline, number 3, oh, it is on the slide. It's on 3B. I'm sorry. It's on, I've written it out for you. The buyer is not required to remove a contingency if the seller has not provided all the documents for that particular contingency. So in other words, if it has to do with the contingency that they have provided the documents for, you can't use that as an excuse. They are not required to remove a contingency if the seller is delinquent in giving any documents and reports. So one question that comes up a lot is, what do you do if you have canceled sales and you have reports from previous buyers? How are people handling that? Are you giving the reports from the canceled sale? Are you giving those to the new buyer? Anybody wish to comment?
Well, hello, this is Victor Hugo. Usually what we're supposed to do is notify or ask the buyer permission to give these reports. You cannot be using those reports without the buyer's permission. There were some buyers that would tell you, yes, go for it. And some other ones, they were not want to use the reports. So
did you, right, did you notice that the contract says that the seller has the right to obtain all the reports? So what you're saying is that you get permission of the buyer to say, okay, we've shared this with you, but we want you to further give us permission. So my question for you is, why would you not give that report to a new buyer?
Well, I'm speaking of the old contract though. If this is
Right.
the new
Oh, you mean you mean RPA that was 10 pages, the old RPA?
Yes.
Okay, well,
Now-
even the old RPA, Victor, had a provision that the buyer must provide copies of their inspection reports. So
Correct,
they did.
but we were advised by our counsel that we should be asking, for a permission. Some agents follow it and some agents don't. But
I think that's a good idea to follow your counsel, but I'm going to add this to it. You've got to be careful for your seller to make sure that they disclose all material facts. And if you look on page 9, at the very top of page 9 of the new RPA, it says known material facts. The seller within the time period shall disclose known material facts. And what's a material fact? It's anything that affects the value or desirability of a property. So talk to your counsel about telling the seller, having the seller disclose. They can do an amended disclosure to say that they are aware that the buyer their previous buyer had an inspection done, but the previous buyer does not want to release the inspection. I mean, that's a material fact.
Correct. Now, let me ask you, now that we're talking this topic, let me ask you now, what about if the seller, before listing the property, he has acquired an inspection report, he has acquired an appraisal report, he has acquired a thermal report on their own before listing the property? With this new contract, I'm asking you, do we have to already disclose all those 3 reports to the buyer?
You as an agent, if you have not seen them, you should disclose that you are aware that the seller has those, and you need to tell if you're taking the listing, you need to tell your seller, I have to disclose what I know under California law. And I know that you have an appraisal or inspection report or any number of reports. And I have to tell them that you have them. I have not seen them, but I have to tell them that they exist out in the universe somewhere. And I advise you to talk to your own counsel, seller, about whether you should disclose them. Because let me tell you what happens in the real world. What happens in the real world is that when the buyer finds out that there was a report and that report had information in it material to the property, known facts material to the property, if there is a problem with the property, they may use that against the seller and against the agent because they didn't provide that information because of paragraph 11M, known material facts. That's a material fact. What a buyer will say is, if I had known that, I would have never bought the property. Let me give you an example. An example would be like remediation, mold remediation. They had an insurance claim or something like that, and then they didn't tell them that, oh yeah, we had to replace all of this or that, and maybe the people, maybe they get buyer's remorse over it. A lot of times they just use that as an excuse. But I think the best thing is to say that your brokerage feels that if in doubt, disclose. If you have a serious doubt about disclosing, talk to your own counsel, seller, because we can't give you legal advice.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so happy that you have brought these issues, and we have 33 agents that are listening, or 31 agents that are listening to this, because these questions are going to come up. So I hope they're writing notes, because that's the way that this is going to be supposed to do. I get a lot of calls every day from 500 agents that I manage. So thank you so much for bringing.
Right. Well, thank you. And I'm glad that we're having this time to discuss these things, and we can go through the contract and discuss some of the highlights, because as you use this contract, you're going to learn more and more and more about it. So I think that's good.
Jacqueline, I have a question. I should have put it in the chat, but I'll just ask it real quick. Someone mentioned to me that they had a sale canceled because of a crime report. I know it sounds kind of funny. It came up on information. The crime report was regarding the condo had some series of break-ins and things. So they got a little leery, and I think the way they uncovered it is they found it on some of the HOA minutes. They were reviewing it, and then they became kind of leery, so they can't. So they want to move on to.
And that is a contingency. That is a contingency of the contract, the HOA documents, and so they would have the right to cancel as long as they haven't let that contingency expire, and as long as the seller has not provided them a notice to perform. Once they remove it, then they wouldn't have a basis to back out on that reason. But it sounds to me like they did. Yeah, there's every property is different, so you're going to see things come up like that, and HOA minutes are, have a lot of that information in them. I wanted to point out on my slide right now that you're looking at, 3C says request for increased deposit. I believe that form has been changed to the DID. So make a note there when you're on WIN forms for the DID is the delivery of increased deposit. One is a demand, one is like an exception, an acceptance of the deposit. So take a look at those forms. Also, letter D, the verification of the VP, the verification of property is still not a contingency of the contract. However, it is a contingency to that if repairs were supposed to be made. If things were supposed to be in a certain way in the property and they are not that way, then that is a basis for them to come back and tell the seller, look, we've got a problem here. So watch the verification of condition. I just recently had an interesting case come in. I want to share this with you because it's so timely. Solar panels. There was a solar company that entered into a contract, and they had the neighbor, not the owner of the property, the neighbor sign it, the contract. And when the buyer got into escrow and they saw this, the lien, well, actually there was no lien filed, but there was a contract that could have been turned into a lien for the solar. As it turned out, the contract was unenforceable because it was never signed. And so we had to go through and try to get the solar company to cancel it because they said, well, you have no authority to do this. Well, guess what? They put the solar panels on the property already. So they were already installed. The buyer said, we don't want this contract. As it turned out, it looked like it was elder abuse because the people that owned the property were both dead by the time the solar equipment was put on there. And even the neighbor that signed, she was elderly, and it looked like elder abuse. So they contacted me and I said, well, let me check to see what the district attorney does about elder abuse to see if we can get them investigate. Well, district attorney won't handle it. They said, go to law enforcement in the area of the property and they have to investigate, and then they turn it into the DA's office. Well, here's the thing. You can't threaten the solar company that, oh, if you don't cancel this contract, we're going to call the sheriff. What you do is you just contact the sheriff, because it was in an area where it's the sheriff's department. And so I contacted them, and then the sheriff said, what do you want us to do about it? We're not going to do anything about it. This is a civil matter. And I said, well, guess what? The district attorney says we have to come to you. Well, after talking to the deputy for a while, he realized that we were really talking about the abuse, the elder abuse. And I was able to reach the solar company's customer care. And I said, look, we've got a real big problem. We're supposed to close escrow this week. And we've got this contract for 142 months. The buyer doesn't want to take over. And by the way, we have turned this into the sheriff's department. And let me tell you, within 30 minutes, the solar company came back and said, we'll take the equipment off. And I said, oh, by the way, when you take the equipment off, you need to fill in the holes in the roof. They agreed to do that. They terminated the contract. They agreed to, patch up the roof. It was great. But that is something I think your agents are going to see more of. You're going to see more situations where there's solar panels that haven't been paid, or they're not, maybe the contract's not appropriate. That particular situation was really weird because the property was being sold by a successor trustee because both of the people died like 3 months ago. I mean, it was just really weird, but I thought I would share that story with you because the reason it relates to verification of property is that they are doing the removal today, actually today, December 22nd. So I told the agent, I think it's a good idea since escrow is already closed, that you have the buyer sign off on another verification of property to make sure that there's no problem with the removal, that they patched it okay, because they don't want them coming back to the seller. So that's why I bring up the verification of property condition. Another way you can do it is by having a release. And I do write those releases, and you can talk to your counsel about preparing a simple release. If you have a situation like that, where something is done after close of escrow, like some sort of a change, maybe they want to do something to the septic tank or to the roof or to the electrical, and it's done after escrow closes and after you've already filled in the first verification of property condition, you might want to have counsel do a simple release. I usually do one on one page to say everybody knows what happened here and we agree that it's acceptable, and the buyers had an opportunity to review this with their own counsel, and they agree to accept the property. Because if you leave that thing hanging, it might be a problem later on. And the buyer might say, well, I didn't know I was going to have this problem,
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
Colleen,
that's just something I think you should watch. And what's your question?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, and that's a very good case to be aware of, because basically that's what's going on with some sellers right now, elderly abuse. So we need to be careful. My question is, may I ask a compliance question, please?
Okay.
Okay, if a broker is presented with disclosures or paperwork that was supposed to be turned in from the very beginning, and some agents, are used to just wait until the loan is being signed to present all paperwork, and they expect the broker to sign something that is outdated, especially listing agreements and all that. Am I supposed to sign it?
Are you supposed to sign for receipt of those documents?
Of those contracts, but they're outdated. They're dates that you're supposed to follow, but they don't. They present everything at the last minute to submit the file.
Oh, and so you didn't? No, I wouldn't. I would attach a disclaimer there to say these dates. We did not receive these. But before that, the seller has to provide those disclosures within 7 days unless they've agreed to a longer period. So a notice to seller to perform should have gone out if you haven't received documents. But I think I hear what you're saying is you're saying you didn't even know the documents existed.
Correct. And sometimes the buyer says, no, it's already closed. I'm not going to waste my time. The buyer's not responding. And they don't want to provide an intention that they have tried to collect the documents from TCs, from listing agents, because I understand some listing agents will not provide certain forms. But do I have to still sign it just for them to close the file? Well, you just gave me the answer. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah. And the other thing is if you get into a situation like that where there's a legal question, you should talk to your counsel, but definitely use the seller notice to perform, and don't acquiesce to signing something that has false information on it. I would cross out the date and say received on whatever date it was. So it may be a past a report that is not timely, but that's a position where the buyer should go talk to their own counsel. And if there's a problem there, then the parties need to speak their own counsel, because you have to go to the dispute resolution paragraph of your contract, and that's on the roadmap. If you look at the bottom, let's see. Oh my goodness. It's in the boilerplate terms, down in the 20s, I think. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's actually in 30s, paragraph 30 and paragraph 31. That's on page 14 of 16. When you have a dispute, then you got to go to mediation first. And they're going to sometimes ask you to attend as well. So watch out for, if you have a situation like that, Victor, where they're trying to get you to sign something that they shouldn't. It sounds to me like the seller was in breach of contract, and that is, breach of contract is a legal question that goes to that seller and the buyer's own attorney. So you want to make sure that the parties go to mediation. And if they go to mediation, I always recommend that if they ask you to come, you come as only a witness, not a participant. Because if you go as a participant, they're going to make you feel like you should be opening up your wallet. And you don't want to do that. And your insurance carrier doesn't want you to do that. So you need to call your insurance carrier and find out what they think you should do. And they have panel counsel that can help. Yeah. But if you look at paragraph 3G, because I know time flies when you're having fun. 3G says paragraph 4 has, page 4 has many addenda, and you should read and study those. Remember, I said there's 90 new forms that are impacted. I think we should, you need to note that 3G tells you to look at the addenda there. Oh, there's 2 forms on E and F that I want to point out: the seller in possession, and then the tenant occupied property addendum. Those forms are now showing up in the new RPA there on paragraph 4. So take a look at those. It's on page 4. And yeah, you'll see it under the 4A, the TOPA. And it says should be checked whether current tenants remain or not, because sometimes the property is it's an investment property. So you'll want to pay attention to that. And seller in possession, remember, that's different from an RLAS. RLAS is the residential lease after sale. That is for tenancy by the seller longer than 30 days. The seller in possession is shorter than 30 days. So take a look at those forms. And so you're familiar if they apply to your transaction. They might not apply to your transaction at all. I want to go over some of these new features to watch for. I've already told you on this slide, it says lots of cross-referencing goes back to the grid. Remember, if they say paragraph 3, they're talking about the grid. And I gave you an example that paragraph 9 takes you back there multiple times to the grid. And those are the items included and excluded. And I'm bringing that up because of all the smart devices. You have the video doorbells, the security systems, the home automations, etc. But one thing that they've noted on here is that the wall-mounted brackets are supposed to be removed on the video. And so if it's not going to be removed, you're going to want to you're going to want to pay attention to that, because if they're removed, they're supposed to they're supposed to make the property, back into, so that they don't leave holes in the wall. And I believe it says that they will patch them, but they won't paint them. Let me look here on paragraph 9. Items included and excluded. It says all existing fixtures that are attached to the property. And then in the middle of paragraph 9B2, it mentions the window coverings. Of course, those are going to stay in the pool equipment, etc. It says even the smart light bulbs, like the LED light bulbs. And it says if the seller does not intend for any item specified to be included because it's not owned, whether placed on the property by agent or a stager, like you have staged property, it should be listed as excluded in paragraph 3P. Again, it's taking you back to the grid, paragraph 3 under section P, like Paul. Okay, and those next items under B3, 4, and 5, those are all new, having to do with security system, automated features. All of those take you back to 3P, and the leased items again. Under at the very bottom of that page 6 on 16, you'll note that that the seller will cooperate with the identification of any software or applications, because in addition to the smart features like the security systems and home automation, they're going to need the software and they're going to need the codes, and those are kind of like keys, so they're going to transfer at that time. So pay attention to that, because those are things that we don't always see. The next thing I've already on C on that page, the fire hardening, really become familiar with the fire hardening FHDS form, because it is going to apply and it's going to be a compliance issue. And I don't know if any of you have had an issue with having a compliance where they have to have somebody come out and inspect for defensible space. But if you have, you know, you'll want to check that out if it's, you know, during your listing. Because even before you get somebody to purchase the property, you're going to want to find out if your property needs to be inspected for defensible space. And finally, on this page, if personal property remains after the date of escrow, it's abandoned. And that's something that's really good to point out to your seller. It's under 7B1, and that's on page 5. And it takes you back to 3E. Look, if they leave it behind, they need to know it's gone and there's not going to be a battle over it. It's actually in the contract now. There goes my dog. Okay, the next one, these notes are not on your outline, okay? Because I just went through your whole outline, but I want to quickly point out some things that you need to be aware of. The receipt for reports is been revised. The format is now 2 pages instead of 1. And one thing I want to point out, this is going to be important for your clients, especially if they're not computer literate. There sometimes the sellers are giving acknowledgement, they're giving reports by links. And remember that if you click on a link, it might change later on. So you're going to want to make sure that you know what, if you're representing the seller, that you know what was on the link at the time that you gave it to the buyer. So it might not be a bad idea to print those pages out that are at the link and have the buyer initial them. Talk to your broker about it, and, you know, see what you want to do about that. But I think we're going to see more issues with buyers saying, oh, well, I didn't see that on a link. I didn't know that. You want to make sure you watch out for that. That's in paragraph 1 on the receipt for reports. Notice that any reports not ordered by the buyer are not a substitute for their own investigations. In other words, if the seller sold the property before and has an old buyer investigation or report, inspection report, they can't just say, oh, well, I'm not going to pay for an inspection. I already have their inspection. Well, you know what? That inspection is only good as of the date that their inspector inspected, and it's only as good as the inspector that inspected it. I mean, it's not a substitute. And so there is a new section on the RFR that speaks to previous reports. So take a look at the receipt for reports. Also, paragraphs 6, 7, and 8 are new, and the reports are, again, are delivered by link. Additional investigation recommendations, reports prepared by for persons other than the buyer. So the buyer needs to do their own investigations. I noticed that it looks like Sandra put another link, a screenshot. She added a screenshot to the Google Docs notes for everyone. So that's good. So watch for that. And then the RRRR has also been revised. It adds that buyers and sellers are referred to as parties. And there's Sandra's link. She's giving you the docs Google link. Near the center of the page on the RRRR, it says that if the parties do not reach agreement on the FHA repairs, that the buyer might not be able to get the loan. If that happens and the loan contingency has not been removed, the buyer can cancel the agreement. Okay, so that's one thing you want to do. That's a change to the RRRR, and I guess your staff is going to make this available, so I guess you don't have to scurry to make notes. But I wanted to bring that to you, and we just have a couple more slides here. The seller property questionnaire. This is important. There is no time limitation unless they say there's a time limitation. So if it says, you have to report 3 years for death on property, and if there's something else like property being painted within 12 months, if they give you the date, then you have to comply with that. But if you have information about, say, a mold remediation from 10 years ago, you have to disclose that. Even if you're not making a conclusion, you just say that, look, we had a mold remediation done at this time and we made an insurance claim. Here's what the information we have. Do your own inspections. Okay, and they add pets and animals, etc. There's more sections on the contingency removal that's been modified. And I know a lot of you have to go, so I've only have a few more minutes. I've seen people on the chat saying they have to go to meetings, so I'm sorry. The contingency removal, again, they add a section for review of seller documents. Make sure you take a look at paragraph 2D on your CR form so that you can see the review of seller documents. I have already talked to you about the fire hardening and and I understand that the FHDS replaced the HHDA. In other words, they used to have a form called the Home Fire Hardening Disclosure and Advisory. Now it's just the FHDS. So it's only applicable if it's in a very high fire danger area. And where do you find it? You find it on the NHD. That's where you would find it. You would find it on the NHD form. And then I gave you the quick, I gave you the quick summary. One thing that I did add that you'll want to take a look at is, if any of you have ever taken my class, I have a class on confirmation letters. Anytime you have a communication that's oral with your client and it's of substance, you want to make sure that you get it in writing from the seller that you told them something. So in other words, if you say, we talked about the solar panels, or we talked about the leak in the kitchen sink or whatever, make sure that you confirm the conversation with a text, an email, whatever, later on. And I gave your staff an explanation on that. You can just send an email or a text or something. You can save. Email is easier to save than a text, but it goes like this. First part, have the conversation. Second part, confirm and say, this is to confirm that we talked about this issue. And I have a template there for you to use. Just a couple other things. Use a line by line approach. Always follow up. Keep written logs, including your confirmation letters and confirmation communications. And that's about it. Do we have any questions?
Jacqueline, before you go, how many years you said you had in the business?
38 years as a broker and agent.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be 41 and we think alike. Thank you so
Oh,
much for bringing all
all
this
right,
topic,
well,
because this is what I do.
thank you. And I still have a broker's license. I got my broker's license in 1992. So I had been an agent for quite a while before I became a broker. So I learned a lot, and I'm very grateful to the brokers that were my brokers that supervised me. I think that you have everything you need, but if are there any other questions? I'm going to look in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, I think
think,
that's been it's been really really helpful. But remember, you're not going to get this the first time through. You're going to, as you use the contract, you're to learn more and more. And I urge you to watch the Spotlight series as Neil Kalin breaks it all down.
Really good. Thank you so much, Jackie. And this has been being streamed to our exclusive Facebook page too. So if you all want to go back and check out this recording, you can go ahead and do that, and pick up any notes that may have, there's a lot of information. So obviously being able to double back, you can do that on our Facebook page. So Jackie, thank you so much. I appreciate your wealth of knowledge and spending some time with us today. Very grateful for that, and looking forward to.
Thank you. And you know what? I love to see people in person because it's easier to interact when we're all together.
Oh, for sure.
This is, it's good for me to be talking, but it's also, it kind of helps when I'm there. So I hope that all these materials are helpful to you. And I really appreciate you, thinking of me to give this presentation.
Definitely. It's our pleasure. Thank you for all you do. And obviously you got your information there. So if anyone has any one-on-one questions for you, then obviously they can reach out to.
Sure, the email is the best because I work remotely. I live in Lakeside, and so if you email me, we can always arrange for like a phone appointment if we need to talk, or if you need to send me something to ask a question. But always follow up, because if I usually answer within 24 hours, and if not, it might go to my spam or whatever. But feel free to follow up with me, and I'll let you know, when I'm available.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jackie. Thanks for all you do. Have a phenomenal rest of your day and a great holiday.
All okay. Right? Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Thank you all. Thank you all for showing up. That concludes our presentation today. We do have Elite Group who want to share something. Ryan, what were you going to say, my man?
I was just going to say, I know that this was a little bit overwhelming for some people. I sent out all of the forms that Jackie sent to us to all of you. I'm also going to send out the PowerPoint tomorrow, as well as this recording. I'm going to upload it to YouTube and send it out to you guys as well. So
we also should put it on the Facebook group too. So
yes.
Yep.
So it is on the Facebook group if you want to look at it then, but just keep your eyes out for that YouTube link and everything like that. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, to Brian, to Jamerson. We'll be happy to help you out.
Sweet. Awesome. All right. Thank you. All right.
Okay.
Did you want to share? Thank you for everything, Jackie. Be well.
Okay. Have a great holidays and Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas. All right. You want to? Yeah. Nice plug. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Hello, everybody.
Yep.
Hey, perfect. I got to sit in and listen to Jacqueline and reminded me of refreshing my memory on all these different like contracts and everything. And I just want to applaud you all. And thank you, Ryan, for even bringing that up about feeling overwhelmed and stuff. But because yeah, we can feel that way sometimes, but it just takes deep breaths and just know and trust that you have your resources around you and you're going to get through it. But the main thing for me was always just be willing to just learn and take it 10, 20 minutes at a time, and you're going to get it. It's just something new.
Absolutely.
This is what we do,
Absolutely.
one day at a time. But thank you, Elite Group. home inspections. You guys know me, right? Commercial, residential, mold, termite. Oh, what else do we do? Sewer, we do roof, certifications. I'm really grateful today for all of you. The short amount of time that I've known you in 2021, you all seem to be like super willing and wanting to learn and to be engaged. And I respect that. I really, really like that. And at the end of every year, I feel like it's a chance for me to kind of reflect on what it is I'm doing right, what it is I need work on, and then to plan ahead. And one of the biggest things that I've learned in this last year is how much follow-up and how much discipline it takes to maintain a steady flow of just planting those seeds and then trusting that it's going to come out so incredible. But just maintaining that flow of follow-up and discipline is just, that's necessary. I'm going to have to step up my game next year. But with that being said, I have a $50 gift certificate. It's a Visa, just a Merry Christmas raffle type of thing. I don't know.
You can just hand it here. No, it's good.
Okay,
It's good.
Brian's gonna handle
Okay,
this.
Just thank you so much.
Just Merry Christmas. Anyway, you guys, I just look forward to working with you in 2022. Thank you so much for all your love and all that goodness you're doing out
Yeah,
there.
you know what? For those who are still on, let's do a quick little, I guess, drawing or like a little raffle thing, I guess. So for those of you stuck it out to the end, thank you so much for this. I appreciate that. And yeah, so how do you want to do this, Ryan?
I'll roll a random number generator, and whatever number comes up between 1 and 18, you're getting a Visa gift card.
All right, so let's do that then.
20, 19 and 20.
Yeah. So yeah. So let's go ahead and
Or do you guys want to be 1 and 2?
put your numbers in the chat. Put your numbers in the chat right now.
All right.
Between what numbers 1 through
Well,
20
I've got a list of people right here, and I'll just assign numbers to them in my head.
in your head. No, that
In
doesn't
my
work.
head. Why not? Why not? You don't trust me, Brian?
Just pick somebody. All right, just go ahead and put a number in the chat. All right, pick a
All
number 1 through 20. And then
Number 1 through 20 in the chat. Everybody who's still here.
So so how does that work? There's literally a number, a random number generator?
Yeah, I've got a dice roller here for D&D purposes. I'll roll a die. All right.
You know what? I'm gonna see if we can.
Mhm.
You know what? I think I'm gonna see if we can make this a little bit more interesting here.
Uh-oh.
And
Everybody get your numbers in if you're still here.
and then I don't know if this is. Oh snap! So we can actually.
Oh, are you rolling it? Did you just take my thunder?
I did just take your thunder. I was like,
What
actually,
the heck, Brian?
I've never thought about this before. So yeah, definitely just stole your thunder there.
Oh, wow.
All right, so because I wanted to share the screen, so
Cool.
I was like, you
I
know
didn't
what?
want to show off my cool dice rolling app or anything.
Oh, look, it would have been cool. I just thought that I like the whole effect and everything. All right, last chance.
All right.
Put a number in the chat.
For any
Yeah,
number that was
and,
taken, I will give you I'll give you an unassigned number that is closest to it.
Sandy says you can't pick 8. All right?
8 was taken, so
get your other number. Pick another number.
you will be number 10. 10 hasn't been taken yet. 18 was just taken. Tasik, give me a number. 19 is taken.
And then we have
18. Mia
18.
with number 1. So 1, 7, 8, 9.
Gary says 33.
33. That's a little too big, Gary.
All right. So let's go ahead and share this thing. So
All right.
numbers 1 through 20.
1 through 20. I've got my eyes on everybody.
And we got it. So you see the screen,
13.
Yeah.
Brian? All
Gary
right.
is number 3. Go for it.
Okay. So we're gonna actually for even better effect, let's make sure that our friends in the room can check it out.
Oh
So-
my goodness.
no.
I don't see you at all now.
Wait, hold on. Wait a second.
You're
I'm all over the place. So
Oh
stop
goodness. Uh-oh.
screen, share.
We're trying.
We're doing our best. We're doing
It's
our
been
best.
a long day. Don't
It's been
judge
a
us.
long day. All right. Here we go. We ready? Let's do it. $50 on the line. $50 on the line. Who's going to Vegas?
Number 8. Number 8 was.
There we go. Sandy.
Stephen Marchenko. Stephen, congratulations.
Well,
You
I thought who won it?
Stephen Marchenko.
Nice job, Stephen.
Right, I was
Nice.
just pointing out 8 was already claimed previous by someone, so.
Yeah,
Oh,
Stephen
okay,
was the
okay,
one.
okay.
Stephen was the one who had 8 before.
Right on. Great job.
Appreciate you, Sandy.
All
Thank
right,
you for
so
letting us
we'll
know.
make sure that Stephen, you get it. Ryan's got your money. So
I
50
promise you'll
bucks.
get most of it.
He'll get it while it's still spendable.
Congratulations,
Great
Stephen.
job. All right, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Hey, if we don't get to see you or talk to you after, have a great holiday season. Rest up. 2022 looks exciting, and I'm very grateful for all of you. So let's go out there and let's make it a great holiday season. And cheers to your 2022.
Have a happy
All right.
holidays, everyone. And
Happy
let's
holidays.
make 2022 a good one.
Absolutely, everybody. Be well, be great. Take care, be safe.
Christmas.
Shout
Happy
out to
holidays.
Homebridge.
Merry Christmas.
See ya.